tacos the other night, like, Ortega style.
Right. Oh, there's nothing wrong with those.
Yeah, no. There is nothing wrong with those. They're not. They're not. I wish that we had just better terminology.
Yeah, my buddy calls it white people taco night. That's
right.
That's what he calls
white
it.
people taco night. That's exactly right. Yeah, but it is yummy.
Oh,
it is super yummy. There's no doubt about it.
Shell.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
So we had some beef left over and a few things left over, and I was just like, what do I want for breakfast this morning? I need something quick.
Yeah, that was good.
I'm actually not a huge eggs guy. I make a hell of an omelet. In a bunch of different ways. I make a great Denver omelet, and I'll look in the fridge and see what's there and just concoct something, But generally, I don't like to eat too much,
For breakfast?
Yeah.
No, me neither. I'm usually...
like that split was just right. It was just enough to me, like, for me to feel like, not too much, but it was filling,
90% of the time I throw a bagel in the toaster, and throw some cream cheese on it.
Yeah.
I
don't even eat breakfast most of the time. I mean, maybe nuts, usually. Hello, Cameron. Yes, I do remember the name. Yeah, I do, vaguely. Yeah. Hello, Peter. Yes, it is. How could you guess? In general, if you're a drummer in America, your drums are probably in the basement or the garage.
We are facing a couple windows, though, too.
It's the back
if we
of the
were
house.
looking the other way, it might be more deceiving if, you had the other view.
Hello, Alessia.
Hello, Song.
Yeah, hello, Payson. Yeah, drums are loud. That's an understatement. Yeah.
Yeah, in that interview that they did last night with the band, they asked him how they got into music, and the drummer said that his grandma, without his parents' permission, brought a drum set over and set it up in their living room, and that was how he started playing drums.
Oh, yay, you're kidding me. Guess what?
What's up?
I think my website problems may have been fixed.
Oh, nice.
So what we found out the other day was that the people in China who were opening my site, when they were opening the booking page or the purchase page, a CAPTCHA was coming up.
Oh.
And it was a Google run CAPTCHA.
And it was English.
And it was English, and it was run by Google, and the firewall,
and it was blocking Google,
and so they couldn't get through the CAPTCHA.
Yeah,
and we didn't see the CAPTCHA because we're here, and it doesn't pop up for us. It only pops up for like IP addresses that look
outside of wherever.
Goofy or something.
Yeah, huh.
So we turned off the CAPTCHA, and
they're able to access
apparently
it now.
Peter signed up for lessons today. And Rita, another new student, is trying to buy lessons later today. But Peter, who was unable to sign up before, is able to sign up now.
Nice.
So yay, yeah. If that's true, that's huge. I mean, I hired somebody to build my site who couldn't figure out what the problem was.
Right.
Another person to try to solve the problem who. And now I'm wondering if he told me he contacted Wix directly, and he showed me what looked like a forwarded email from Wix.
Oh, right. Yeah, you told me about that. But yeah, it could have been easily forged.
Yeah, he could have easily just been like, well, it's a whole lot easier for me to just tell him something. And so on the other hand, it is possible Wix basically just, well, there's nothing we can really do.
Right. But you'd think that they would try to.
Yeah, well, but Alyssa was tenacious and kept trying to figure out what it was. She kept talking to all the different students to figure out what they could and couldn't do.
Right.
And apparently that may have been fixed, which would be a huge weight off my shoulders.
Yeah.
Do I have tattoos? I do not, actually. I do not. I'm not against tattoos necessarily or anything. I just never felt the identity urge to do something like that yet. And I say yet because there are some things I could see myself wanting to tattoo to my body, and I feel better about it having waited this long.
Yeah, and
because if you do them now, then
Right.
they'll last the rest of your life.
Yeah,
But like
it's true,
you
'cause
start
I
when
got-
you're 18.
Yeah, I got my first one when I was like 27, and I
Right.
still only have one other since. So
Right.
it's not like you
Yeah.
know, I'm my friend that I was telling you about last night. He's got his whole chest
Yeah.
covered. He's got
Right.
sleeves. You know,
Yeah.
he's got on his neck. And
Yeah,
stuff.
see, like I said, I feel like that's like an identity thing
It
at that
is,
point.
yeah,
and like I said,
exactly.
for me, it's like
No.
I've just never been called to do that.
right.
So no, I do not have any tattoos.
I would like to get another one though. I'd like to get a tattoo of Sun Wukong. That'd be cool.
Well, we're getting off to a slow start this morning, but we're here. So we're just hanging out. We're just talking. If you have questions about English, we'll try to help you with your questions about English. If you just want to chat, maybe that's okay too.
Yeah. If you got questions about tattoos, that's
That's
generally
okay, right? Yeah, like those kinds of questions are fine. Yeah. Bueller.
We got
Anybody we recognize? Yeah, Baby Shark, yeah. Not too many regulars yet, though, that I recognize. It's a rainy day here.
It is. It's been a rainy couple days.
Yeah, which is good, though.
Yeah,
because,
we haven't had any
geez,
rain for
yeah,
months, and now it's loading up.
Right.
all
Yeah,
in a couple days.
all my plants in my garden were all struggling, and all the plants in the yard are
Yeah,
all
everybody's grass is
dying.
dead.
Yeah.
all everywhere.
Finally, we get some rain.
Yeah, it's made in Covington where I live. It's just we don't have much of a yard, you know, and what yard we have is either patio or got a little driveway or something on it. So there is a patch that I do have to mow generally, but I haven't had to mow it because there's
Right,
been no
yeah,
rain, so
right.
that's been a plus.
Yeah. Can you use the word could when you talk about something that happened? That happened?
Yeah, it's. I'm trying to think.
Let
of,
me,
like,
let me let me imagine that
could have
situation.
happened.
Right, that's what popped into my head was could have happened. Okay, let's see.
And maybe he unlocked the door so he could get in,
So
but that's still kind of
Daikicho, we use the term, we use the phrase could have often when we're talking about something that was a possibility that didn't occur, right? So they could have won the game if they had just this, or we could have gotten into the house if we had had our keys. So in those cases, well, but that doesn't fit what you're talking about because those are all hypotheticals that did not happen.
Yeah, and I was thinking, the house thing. It's like, and even the way I said it, it doesn't quite. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if
let's
you can
see.
really use
Right.
could as talking about something.
Let's see if I can find something about that.
Yeah, like that's the only thing. He got his keys so he could get into the house, but that's a different usage.
Yeah, I mean, it's talking about things that were possible or things that you wish were possible, but those are both things that did not happen. Yeah. So I'm going to say no.
There's probably some small
Yeah,
special
there
rule or
may be
something,
some
yeah.
rare case where you can, but based on what I'm looking at, let's see. He could go there yesterday, but that's still not happening.
Yeah, it's still
Right.
it may have not.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
it's not definitive.
So I would say, as a general rule, no.
Yeah, because it's like could is sort of like was able to, and then if
Right.
you're not able to do something that didn't happen,
Right.
you know.
Right. Not many questions rolling in today. You guys are quiet today.
Yeah. Got some people in.
So if you say I could swim when I was a kid, that implies to me that you cannot now,
Right.
right? So if you say I could swim when I was a kid, then somehow or another I'm thinking that means that you've forgotten how or you
Right.
don't know how
Or you're
now.
comparing it maybe to the way you can swim now. Like
Right.
I could swim when I was a kid, but now I'm a professional swimmer. You know, something like that.
Right.
But it generally
Right.
implies that yeah, you cannot swim now.
So, but if you say I was able to swim versus I could swim,
Similar.
yeah, those are pretty much the same. Yeah. Hello, Perfect Blue. How are you? And hello, Vic. There is no topic. It's open for discussion. Whatever you would like to talk about is good. If you have any questions, then quest.
Yes. then quest away.
I feel like that should be the operative
should
verb
be,
for
yeah.
question. To quest someone.
To quest someone, because it is a bit of a quest.
Yeah,
to
right.
get an answer.
That's right. Yeah. You may quest me now. Josh, the difference between can and could. First, let me ask you, have you tried to look that up online yourself? Because there are at least 50 pages that give that answer, and at least 10 of them are good and have good examples and everything. So honestly, Josh, do a Google search for the difference between can and could, and there will be at least 50 pages that pop up that should have a pretty good definition
Yeah,
or
'cause that's-
description of the difference. Okay.
We need a little more specifics to know where you're going wrong between
Right.
can and could, because that's a long explanation and a long sort
Yeah,
of.
it'd be better if you asked me something like, "Can I use can here?" or "Can I use could here?" or something like that.
Yeah, where you're having the
You
problem.
know? Yeah. So, Daikicho, if you said to me, I could swim when I was a kid, without any other context,
Yeah.
in my mind, I would think that means that somehow or another, either one, you cannot swim now, or you're talking about a group of people from that time period who could or couldn't swim, right? So maybe if you were referring to a bunch of kids in the neighborhood who couldn't swim, but you said something like, you know, I could swim when I was a kid, that would be comparative to something else, you know, some other kids in the neighborhood. So that's one thing. But in general, if you just said to me, I could swim when I was a kid, then yeah, somehow or another,
And
if you just say I learned how to swim when I was a
Yeah.
kid, then that doesn't imply anything after the fact.
yeah, and I thought you could add even in there. I could even swim as a kid.
Yeah,
you know, and,
sure.
And that means,
Yeah,
you know, I've
and
been
that-
able to swim for a long
Right,
time.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. What do we teach at school? We don't teach at school, Richard. I'm an online teacher, and he's a teacher in training.
I'm actually in school right now.
What's the right path to follow when a person feels down and unmotivated to study and learn more?
Sometimes I need an answer for that myself.
The truth is, I don't think that there is always a medicine for that.
Yeah,
I think
time.
sometimes those are the human body, the human entity is not a perpetual motion machine. So there are times when we will need distraction so as to recharge, right? And so sometimes boredom is, I think, a forced sense of rest in some ways, like sometimes.
Yeah.
However, I always do say that you do need to try to have as many possible ways to learn as you can, and as many interesting ways to learn as you can. The more interesting you can make your learning, the more likely you'll stay interested. But for me, in my ADHD brain, sometimes when I'm reading a book and I get bored reading the book, okay, I try to push myself as far as I can with that, and then I stop, take a break for a few minutes, then I go do something else that's still studying English or studying whatever, but a different method, right? So a video game or a movie or a TV show or a grammar book right? So I pivot a lot. And that helps me to stay interested and also motivated, because I feel like it's always new and you're never stalling out with that sense of like, oh God, I got to study again. Like if you can keep it interesting by, really, really keeping the variety in there, then I think that helps. But other than that, go out and get some nature, like go hiking, go camping, go for a walk, again, I think that occasionally you just need a break, 2 days, 3 days, a week, 2 weeks, come back to it and you'll feel better about it.
Yeah.
Right. So for example, the last week or two, I have not done very much at all on Hello Talk. I've done just these morning streams with Clay, and that's it. I haven't done any other voice rooms or live streams. Why? Because I needed to take a break and kind of take a step back for a minute and feel better about it. I was feeling a bit just,
burned out.
Not quite burned out, but it felt like it was in a grind, like it was a rut.
Yeah,
like it was just, it didn't feel energetic or interesting anymore. And I know that when that happens, then I don't feel that way, and it's not good for you, right? If I don't have the right vibe, then it's not good to watch. So I think that stepping away is not a bad thing.
I agree with that too. Yeah, and you need to, sometimes reassess your goals and then realign it, and then that may motivate you as well.
Right. Yeah. Daikicho could is yes, that you can use that as a past tense form of can. Yes, that's true. Yes, and also we will do some stage people here shortly. Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess Daikicho, you just need more context if you're going to use, using the could as the past form of can. For people to understand exactly what you're saying.
Do I know Teacher Grant and Teacher Kevin? I don't think so. No. Hello to all the new people. Thank you, David. Can you teach me English or could you teach me English? Which one is correct? Well, they're both correct. They both say different things. Can you teach me English is generally asking if someone is able to or available to or wants to do something, right? Could you teach me English? Could be asking, are you able to or do you want to? But more likely it's asking, do you have the ability to teach me English? could you teach me English is asking if somebody has the qualifications or knowledge to teach you English, right? But if you just say, can you teach me English? That could mean the same thing, or it could just be, are you available? Do you want to?
Right.
You know, yeah, that. I was saying you're
His
funny.
number one Barbie, his number one Nicki Minaj fan.
Yeah. Yes, I was able to swim is better. Yeah. Or I learned how to swim or something
Yeah.
up to that nature.
I've
yeah.
been swimming since I was
Yeah.
a kid.
Can I tell you what is a guru? You're asking about the word guru?
I'd imagine that comes from.
It's an Indian word.
yeah.
Yeah, it's an Indian word. The modern meaning of guru, basically, the old meaning is wise person, right? Like a wise person that you go to listen to because they know a lot, right? They have good answers.
It's
The general term now is
tongue-in-cheek,
just kind of
yeah.
open. It just is more like somebody who's knowledgeable in some way, you know?
He's a fitness guru,
right,
you know? He knows
exactly.
about working out.
That's
and about
right.
That
Yeah,
kind of
it's
stuff.
used almost like a root word addition now.
Yeah.
where they just say fitness guru or drumming guru
Yeah,
or
food
music guru,
guru,
or
yeah.
food guru.
Yeah.
Right, and it just is supposed to imply a certain level of knowledge or
Yeah.
wisdom in that area.
And I do think it's used a little more sarcastically a lot these days, you know?
I think
'cause
I think it
wouldn't-
became a marketing term.
Yeah, and
you
I
know?
feel like generally someone wouldn't call themselves that. You know, that's
well,
they,
you
they
would
do.
You would think
They
so,
do,
but
which
they
is why
do.
it's like people
But again-
nowadays say it sarcastically because most of these people are self-styled gurus.
I have no problem with the term guru. But it's just like the word great. You don't call yourself that.
right.
Other people call you that.
Now,
When other people call you a guru, then you're a guru.
Yes.
But if you go around
And-
calling yourself a guru, then
and
that's
I would say
weird.
that's probably 90% of the internet gurus
Right,
call
yeah.
themselves.
That's right, yeah.
They've labeled themselves a guru.
And yes, my occupation is online teacher and drummer. That's right, yeah. Although not much drumming these days. And hello, Arya. This is
Arya.
my friend Clay, teacher Clay. Thank you, Finn. There's lots of ways to say things in English, and if I don't use them often, it's easy to forget them. Yeah, and that's why I always keep saying, Daikicho, that you have to try to spend some time thinking in English. If you spend more time thinking in English, then you have more opportunity to say them in your mind. You can keep them fresh in your mind. What is the right way to memorize words? Don't memorize words.
Yeah.
That's the right way to memorize words, is don't. There are much better ways to learn words. They require a little bit more effort, but they have a lot more efficiency and longevity. Well, now we have a difference between will and would question.
It's the same sort of thing.
Yeah, this one, though, actually does have a somewhat...
A few, yeah, because wood has a few.
The main
words.
difference between will and would is that would can be used in the past tense, but will cannot.
Right.
So would is commonly used to refer to a future event that may occur under specific conditions, while will is used more generally to refer to future events. So let's give you some examples. So you use will when you're talking about statements that have to do with the future, right? So they will have 2 extra meetings this afternoon. I will be 30 next year. Somebody is ringing the bell. I will go and see who. So those are some examples of how to use will, right? When you can use would is when it's a past tense form of will. Like you could say, Jack said he would finish the work the next day. So that's not Jack said he will finish the work the next day. Jack said he would finish the work the next day, right? So it's the past form of will. Anne said she would write us soon. He hoped she would come, right? So there's one example there. And then would is also used in type 2 and type 3 conditional sentences.
Oh, yes.
Oh, right.
Everyone's favorite.
Oh, right.
Just
yeah.
like Mom used to make.
Yeah. This is, again, why I love English.
Yeah.
You know, it's like... we should do a segment where we just walk down the street and ask random Americans about English grammar, just to show how bad we are about
exactly. Present perfects and ask them what they think about it.
So like, I would phone Sue if I had her number is a conditional, right? If blah blah blah, then blah blah blah. It's a conditional sentence, right? We would have gone fishing on the weekend if the weather had been good, right? So if this, then that. Okay? And there are some sentences where will and would both could be used. It's considered more polite to use would, though. So,
yeah, would you like to get something?
Yeah, would you like to do something? Would you like some juice? Would you like to have a chat? Whatever. Would be more polite, right? Yeah.
It's almost unheard of for someone to say, will you want some, I guess I mean in the future, but...
Right. Let's see here. I'm going to send you this link, and you can check out the rest of that online.
And hello, Mona, over on YouTube.
I think that's it. Yeah, it looks like it got it all, I think. Try to open that link there, and that link should... Or what happened to the link?
I think we're just not at the bottom of the chart.
Oh, that's why. Yeah, so if you want to, you can go to that page, and that has a good explanation about will and would in English. Okay? And yes, hello, Mona. Thank you for joining me over there, too. All right. Let me back up and catch up to the comments here. Jimmy Kimmel, is that because I'm fat? Is he an English teacher also? He's an English teacher in training. Yeah. Also, would and could imply a possibility. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Peter, I will. I just haven't caught up with the comments yet. Bellin. Hello, Bellin.
Hey, Bellin.
Adri lost her Chinese book at school, and we've been looking for it. Oh, no. I don't know if I remember. I don't know if I knew that she was studying Chinese. That's awesome. I'll teach her some stuff when I come.
Mm-hmm.
I see many people write fascinating English on their profile on social media, even though they don't speak very well. What's the reason behind that? Ahad, because writing can be crafted well.
Yeah.
Speaking is something that has to happen in the moment.
Yeah, writing can be completely faked. Even,
Right. You can use AI to write whatever you want now,
Yeah.
and it'll write a perfect thing for you. So, of course, they try to write. There are two reasons. One, because it's easier to write well with all the tools that we have today with AI.
Yeah.
And two, because you have more time available when you can write. So, and then three, simply because, of course, if they can find a way to craft something that makes it look like they have great English, then of course they're going to. Why would you deliberately try to show bad English?
Yeah, just in your profile bad English.
Right, yeah, right. So, of course, they try to use the best English they can, and they may cheat a little bit, Hello, Q47. Hey. Welcome back. There are good translators that exist. That's right. I agree with that. Hello, Teacher Mike. How are you? How can you write pro-English like business people on a bio? ChatGPT?
Yeah.
Ask ChatGPT that question, and it will teach you how. It will show you how. And Ron, yes, I got your message. That's great. I'm glad to hear that I'm going to get to see Ron, too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's in Dresden, and I guess that week that I might be there, he's off work.
Cool.
So, let's see.
When are you leaving in October, you said?
Yeah, the 14th.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you, Q47. Indeed, it is a crazy world we live in. You always try to tell others what you want to say with simple words, so I'm having a hard time expanding vocabulary. Well, I'll give you two comments on that. One, I prefer simple words. Yeah. I think simple words are great. I still think that the crafting of simple words done well is better than the crafting of complicated words. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of street food versus fine dining.
Yeah.
You know, where street food, usually simple, fairly straightforward, cheap, fast, easy.
Pretty much guaranteed to fill you up.
Right.
You know?
Cheap, fast, and easy.
Yeah.
It's simple. It's straightforward. It's not complicated, right? But then there's fine dining where every little piece is crafted and and it's like a piece of art, right? Which one do I like better? Hands down, street food.
Yeah, you may still be hungry after the fine dining.
Right.
You may not even know what was being said.
Sometimes when I eat fine dining food, I look at it and say,
There's too much going on.
Was there a main point that got missed here?
Right.
You know, feeding oneself,
Right.
you know? I think that fine dining goes too far with like chemistry and experimenting and presentation, and they forget one simple thing, which is just make a yummy thing.
Right.
That's it.
Uh-huh.
Make a yummy
Something
thing
that we want to eat.
So the point that I was trying to make is just that I still think that simple language is where the true art is. That being said, if you want to improve your vocabulary to use bigger words, I think there are two things you could do. One, you definitely need to have a system of words to learn that are useful to you and elevated language, right? So that's the thing I would say would be the hardest part about trying to use elevated language is it sounds weird if you're using it with no purpose.
Yeah.
So that's why I think you should sit down and think about which situations that you might be in, school, work, family, business, government, whatever kind of things that you're trying to do, and then think about what language or words that you'd like to learn in those environments that would be elevated language. That way you're learning practical vocabulary words. Like, for example, like the word foible. That's a great
Right.
word. The word foible is such a great word. But nobody uses it.
Yeah, you don't
for
need
what
it.
purpose?
Yeah,
That word is such a weird, I can't imagine anyone who uses that word in these days. They're deliberately trying to use it to elevate the language. And there are times when we do that, when we're trying to formalize a situation more by elevating the language, right? So instead of saying howdy, you say hello, sir, nice to meet you, right? Mm-hmm. So language is that way, right? So I still think stick with simple words and try to keep crafting simple words well. But if you're trying to learn how to use more advanced vocabulary, create a list of vocabulary that's useful to you in your life. And then I think one of the best ways is still the classic word a day calendar kind of a thing, make your list of words and then create a template for it or print it out or put it up on your screen somehow, and every day just add one new word to your vocabulary. And here's the fun part is that you have to try to use that word like 5 times that day. I think they say 7 times. It's like the so you could have a word like quintessential, and now you have to try to use that word 7 times that day.
Which may not be easy.
This Pop-Tart is the quintessential breakfast of this year, or whatever. We are the quintessential English teachers on Hello Talk, whatever. It's weird because you start, it becomes a little funny because you're using a word you're forcing it. You're forcing the
A word
use
that
of
you may not say
Right.
once in a year,
That's
you're now
right.
saying 7 times in,
in a
10
day.
hours.
That's right. Yeah. So in that case, that's okay though, because
Yeah.
that's the point.
Right, exactly.
You're supposed to be
Yeah.
forcing it to try to use it so that you can remember it. Yeah.
And the more input you get, the more naturally, you'll end up hearing more vocabulary, and if
Yeah.
and you can look into it from there.
Agreed. Yeah. There are also cases where their written English is better than their spoken English. Oh, I think that's what they were talking
Yeah,
about,
yeah,
Mike. Yeah. But it does happen the other way occasionally, too, where their spoken English is
Better
than their written English. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm going too slow today, guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep up. Why did the majority of American people wear a cap? We don't. The majority of us don't. The two of us did
Yeah, I do.
today.
I don't-
Yeah, I don't wear a hat too often.
I wear a hat pretty often.
Yeah.
I have since I was young. I've just always worn baseball caps.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know why.
I don't wear mine too often. But you can convey your feelings more clearly and properly if you have a lot of vocabulary, right? Yes.
If you're a novelist, I guess.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's a beauty in the expansiveness of language,
Yeah.
right? Whatever language you're learning. Language is an art, and words are like songs, right? Or melodies, and it takes time to learn a song book, right? A book full of songs. That takes time to know all those melodies and be able to use them well and call them like this. That takes a lot of time to do.
Yeah.
So what I would say is just keep at it, and recognize that there are a lot of words in the English language, and it is a monumental task to try to really tackle a vocabulary.
Yeah.
I mean, there are like nearly 1 million words, in total in the English language, and the average American knows like 30,000, 20,000, or something like that. So when you think about it, it's really like
2%?
right.
Yeah,
Like, how do we even choose which
Right.
ones we're supposed to learn? Because
Yeah.
there are quite a few that you don't need, ever, right?
And there's a lot that you don't need ever because you're already using a word that works for whatever it is that you're
Right.
Because
And-
we have a lot that mean the same thing.
And again, here's a Daikicho. Here's a good example: supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. That word is not a real word. Well, it is now.
Yeah,
it is now. It's now been a created word, but the word came out in the 1950s, I think.
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins, and it's a word that basically is a made-up word that they made to sound elevated.
Yes.
And it basically means good. It means it's great. It's wonderful. So if somebody says, how are you? You could say, I'm supercalifragilisticexpialidocious,
And they may just continue walking on.
Right. But it's to make the point, though,
Yes,
that word is exactly what we're talking about, where you could just say, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm wonderful, But, yeah. Okay. Let's get Vic up.
Vic's coming up. Oh, I think you hit hands down.
Oh,
That-
now it's Alone. What happened to Vic?
There's Vic.
Let's wait and see if Alone comes up. Alone, do you want to come up? There's Alone, and we forgot our cans.
Oh, yeah.
Give me a can. There
this
we
one?
go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hello, my friend. How are you?
Hello.
I'm fine. How are you, sir? Are you fine?
We're pretty good.
Yeah,
Can you turn up
doing well.
the volume on the?
This one?
Yeah, that one.
How's that? Do we need more?
I don't know. We'll
Oh, yeah.
see.
Let's see.
Yeah. I think I talked to you once before. Did I talk to you before once?
No, it's my first time.
No, oh, okay, all right, maybe not. All right, I remember somebody else with the name alone. So you're in Afghanistan, right?
Yeah, that's right, sir. I'm in Afghanistan.
Okay, where are you in Afghanistan? What city?
I live in Kabul city.
In Kabul. All right, great. So what can we do for you today? How can we help you?
I mean, what if you shared just some techniques of learning American accent?
Okay. Well, to start off, I'll say that your accent is already close. You're doing pretty well already. Your accent is definitely good already.
Yeah.
To learn an American accent, it depends on which American accent you're trying to learn, right? We have many different accents in America. If you're talking about my accent, you know, which is what we call the Midwestern accent, it's kind of a neutral Midwestern accent. Let's see, how could you go about learning this way? One, something called IPA. Do you know what IPA is?
Yeah, International Phonetic Alphabet.
Right, and the IPA system, the American, what it shows for American accent is pretty much the way we are speaking right now, right? So their pronunciation is pretty much exactly like our pronunciation in that IPA system. So that's one way. I don't usually recommend the IPA personally because I think it's a little weird because it's almost like you're learning another language to learn English, right? Because it's a whole nother
Right.
language. So the other ways I would suggest is a lot of TV and movies, right? Mimicking, shadowing, find people who speak the way you want to and try to sound like them. And then, if you notice when I speak, I move my mouth a lot. My mouth is really open and really wide. I do that on purpose. That's deliberate. When I was in high school, I studied acting for a little bit.
Yeah,
and
it's
when I
technique.
studied acting, that's when I was taught how to speak clearly, to enunciate, and to project my voice. And those three things are really good as an English teacher. But English, whether it's British English or American English, sounds more clear when you open your mouth wider. Right? So if you really open your mouth on the vowel sounds, A, E, I, O, U, A, E, I, O, U. You know, if you look at some of the great speakers of English, for example, like guy who just passed away, James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
When he spoke, he had a big mouth, a huge mouth when he spoke. And Muhammad Ali, big mouth when he spoke. What's his name? Martin Luther King,
Yeah.
big mouth when he spoke. Paul Robeson, big mouth when he spoke. These are actors or people who are public speakers, and public speakers understand that you must enunciate. So that means to really over-exaggerate the movements of your mouth to make them extra clear. So many people come on my live stream and say, I can understand you 100%, but when I watch YouTube, I can't understand them very well at all. It's because I'm trying to speak clearly. I slow down my speech just about 10%, maybe 15% when I'm teaching, right? Compared to my normal voice in the real world when I'm hanging out with my friends, I might speak a little bit faster than this. So I slow down a little bit, and I really exaggerate my mouth movements, and I project my voice. Those are three general things that you can do to try to sound more like an American. Then I would suggest find some role models. Okay? It's just like being a musician. When you're a musician, if you play the guitar and you want to be a great guitarist, first thing you do is you find somebody who's your favorite guitarist and you try to learn how to play just like them. Right? So the same thing is true with voice. Try to find somebody who speaks the way you want to speak and then try to speak like them. Learn how, listen and repeat the things they say and try to figure out, why does he sound better than me? What's different about his voice compared to mine? right? You have to really listen and
Yeah.
and try to think about what you're doing versus what they're doing.
I think the actor, mentality is good to have if you're trying to mimic an accent, because you're going to have
Absolutely.
to. It's
Yeah.
going to be mimicking, and it is going to be a bit of acting, at least for the
Yeah,
first
I mean,
part,
that's what actors have to do. Actors
Yeah.
have to do accents all the time.
Yeah.
And actors understand that to learn an accent, you have to change the movements of your mouth. Every language in the world has its own mouth movements that make it what it sounds like. So, what is an accent? An accent is when you are speaking a new language, but you're using the mouth movements from your native language. That's what an accent is. Okay? So you have to understand that so that you can remember, okay, if I want to learn German, then I need to learn German mouth movements. If I want to learn Chinese, then I need to learn Chinese mouth
Yeah.
movements. And they're all different.
The physical aspect is forgotten a lot.
Yeah, it
because
really, really is.
It really is.
Yeah. And so I like to remind people that that's what an accent is. If you don't like your accent, you don't like your mouth movements. So that means you need to figure out what are you doing that's not the same as the guy you like, right? So when you hear that guy and you say, oh, his voice is so great, look at his mouth and look at your mouth and try to figure out why. What is it? Is it his tongue? Is it his lips? Is it the size or shape of his mouth that's different? And, it can be tough. It can be hard,
Yeah.
to get a perfect accent. But I also want to tell you, you do not need to have a perfect American accent. You do not. You can speak English perfectly well from any country in the world with any accent in the world. It doesn't matter if you have an accent. It does matter if your accent is unclear. Okay, so if your accent is so unclear that I can't understand you, that's a problem. But if I don't care where you're from and what accent you have, as long as I can understand you
We were able to understand you very
perfectly.
well, yeah.
Right. So that's what I'm trying to say. If you want to work on your accent to sound more like an American, okay, fine. That's fine. You can. But if you came to America tomorrow, I don't think you'd have many problems speaking with people. And I would, if you had a problem speaking with someone, if somebody
That's
could
on
not
them.
understand you,
Yeah.
I would look at that American and I would say, "What's wrong with you? I understand him perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with you,
I
man?"
agree.
So try to remember that, if you want to work on it, that's great, but you're already speaking really well. And remember that the ultimate goal of language is not a perfect accent. The goal of language is clarity and communication, right? If you can communicate with people. So what I like to say is that if I have two cars that I can give you, right? I have two cars. They're both the same car. One is they're both Mercedes-Benz, really nice Mercedes-Benz cars, right? But the one on the right, this car has a perfect engine and it has a perfect interior and the tires are brand new and really nice. But the paint on that car is not very nice. It's not nice paint, okay? Or you could have car number two. Car number two, same car, but the engine is not very good. The interior is not nice and the tires are very old. The wheels are old. But the paint on the number two car is the best paint you've ever seen in your entire life. Which car do you want? Do you want the car with not good paint, but a good engine? Or do you want the car with a bad engine and great paint?
Yeah.
Definitely the car which has good engine.
Right. Your accent is just the paint on the car. It's not that important. You need to have a good engine. You need to have good tires. You need to have a good interior. If you have that, then you're okay, right? After that, then you can work on the accent last, but it's the thing that matters the least. Okay, it's the thing that matters the least.
And sometimes I'm told that I'm speaking a little slowly. Like, how can I speed up while I'm speaking?
I wouldn't worry about that at all.
I wouldn't either. Here's what I tell people. Language has no speed. Just like music has no speed. Some music is slow, some music is medium, some music is fast. Is fast music the only good music? No, of course not. No, of course not. And here's another thing that I like to demonstrate to people. I'm going to say this. Listen to me carefully. The faster you speak, the less meaning your words have. The slower you speak, the more meaning your words have. Do you see what I said there? So if I speak quickly, I say, the faster you speak, the less meaning your words have. That's fast, but each word goes by so quickly it has less meaning. But if you slow down, now your words can have more meaning.
Yeah.
So to be honest with you,
It's
I
smarter
think-
to go slow.
yeah, it's smarter to go slow. And to be honest with you, it's not that you need to go faster. It's that everybody else needs to go slower. Yeah.
Okay.
Great
And
great
I've
speakers
got
don't
another
speak
question.
that fast,
No,
to
they
be
don't.
honest.
No,
Yeah.
they do not.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so I've got another question that is learning two accents simultaneously or speaking, like, is it possible to speak with British accent and as well as with American accent?
Yeah,
I
as a matter of
both.
fact, there's a girl on, there's a group of people on Hello Talk I belong to, and there's a girl in that group. I think she's from India, if I remember right.
She code switches.
And she has perfect American accent and a perfect British accent. And she can turn them on and off anytime she wants to. It's amazing.
that is like acting.
That is kind of like acting, yeah. So can you do it? You absolutely can. I don't think it's really necessary.
Yeah, what's the return on the time investment for
Right, yeah.
learning those two is not.
Yeah, that seems
Not great.
at that point. I kind of feel like that's like an ego project,
Right.
like you're just trying to show off now.
Yeah,
You're just trying to show off a little bit, man.
No, it's not like that, but I really love to, learn different accents and speak.
Well, that's okay.
that's
That's
good.
all right. Yeah. But just remember, like I said, your accent is the paint on the car. So, of all the things that you should spend time improving, that's the last one I'm going to worry about. I'm going to work on my engine a lot more. I'm going to work on my interior more. I'm going to work on my tires. I'm going to make the body of the thing better.
So it can
You
get
know.
where we need to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So work on your vocabulary. Work on your grammar. Work on your ability to speak in public, which is not, that's a skill you have to learn. Those are a lot more important than an accent. Think about it like this. Gandhi had an accent. Did anyone care about his accent? No. What's his name from South Africa?
Nelson Mandela.
Nelson Mandela had an accent. Did anyone care about Nelson Mandela's accent?
No.
Sidney Poitier had an accent. Did anybody care about his accent? No.
It was the content
Right.
of their words.
Yeah. So, if your content is good, then it doesn't matter what accent you have. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, here's the last point I'm going to give you about accents. I don't like to encourage people to lose their accent. I don't. I like to encourage people to keep their accent for a couple of reasons. One reason is because when you get rid of your accent and you choose to have either American or a British accent, it's almost like a little bit like you're ashamed of your culture. And I don't think that's a good thing, English is not the accent. English is the language. It's the words, it's the vocabulary, it's the ability to communicate. That's it. It's not the accent. So, and then as an American, you have to remember that my country is a country formed from people from other countries. Right? So when you ask me what is an American accent, my answer is every accent, because people from America are from everywhere. Right? So as soon as you come here and you're here for a little while, you're an
You have
American.
an American accent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an American accent, right? So we have, Arabic accents and French accents and German accents and
Mexican
Mexican accents and
yeah.
Chinese accents and Japanese accents, and that's part of the tapestry of America. And as long as I understand you, it's not a problem. When I go to the post office here, the girl I work with usually is Indian. She has a thick Indian accent, but I don't mind. Doesn't bother me a bit.
thank you for sharing these points. I've got a last question. That is, you just mentioned, having strong vocabulary. So I usually learn new words and new like expressions, but uh, it doesn't stick in my long term memory. I just forget it because we don't have English environment here. So
Yeah.
what do you recommend for that?
So, learning new words, first of all, I tell people that memorizing is the worst way to learn, so just don't do it. Just don't waste your time. Memorizing doesn't work very well. Now, the thing that you need to understand is why memorizing doesn't work well. Memorizing doesn't work well because it doesn't engage your brain at all. It's boring. Right? So I like to think of it kind of like a spider building a spider web, right? When a spider builds a spider web, if it only makes one strand of web, is it going to catch anything with that one strand? No, of course not. If a fly goes in there, he's going to fly right out, right? It's not strong. It's a weak web. So what does a spider do? It doesn't just make one connection. It makes lots and lots and lots and lots of connections. And every new connection it makes that web stronger and more likely to hold the fly that's flying into it, right? That's the way your brain works too. Information, the more ways you can find to connect to a piece of information, the more likely it will stay in your brain, right? So when I want to learn new vocabulary words, I have 4 methods that I use for learning vocabulary words. One is read. Reading is still the #1 way to learn new vocabulary words. And reading is still the highest technology that we have on this planet. Okay, so computers are great. My iPhone is an amazing piece of technology. But with a book, I can open a book written by Plato thousands of years ago, and I can read his words and know what he thought thousands of years ago. That is a technology that is insanely amazing. That it's like time travel, basically, right? So reading is an amazing technology that is underrated. And reading is good because when you read, you learn words in context, right? It's called contextualized learning. So that means you're more likely to remember the words because they're part of a story, right? When you learn a new word, it's part of a picture that you're seeing in your mind in the story, so now it stays with you, right? So reading, #1 way to learn vocabulary. The second way you can learn vocabulary that's great is to use a thesaurus. Do you have a thesaurus? Or do you know what a thesaurus is?
No.
Yeah. So everybody knows what a dictionary is, right? A dictionary is a book that has all the meanings of the words in it, right? A thesaurus is like that, but it's a book that has all the synonyms, all the related words, the cousins, right? So you can go to thesaurus.com. Go to that website right there. It's a free online website, and you can type in a word like happy, and it will give you all the words that are related to happy, and I guarantee there will be a handful of them that you didn't know. You'll say, oh, well, that's cool. I know happy, but I didn't know jubilant. I didn't know joyous or ecstatic, right? So you can build on the vocabulary you already have, right? That's a connection that's already built in your mind. Now you can just try to build another connection off of it, right? Using vocabulary you already know. And now it's great because it's all online. So you can find one word and then click on another word and then click on another word and keep exploring, all digitally. It's great, right? So that's step 2 is use a thesaurus, thesaurus.com. Step 3 is to learn vocabulary by topic. So, for example, computers. What are some words that are related to computers? Megabyte and hard drive and screen and keyboard and motherboard and whatever, internet and Wi-Fi. Those are all vocabulary words associated with a similar topic. And again, why do I do that? Because I'm making connections. I know the word computer. Now I need to learn words that are related to computer that I can create connections in my mind that will stay with me because they're related to other words I know, right? And then the final way that I love to learn vocabulary, which is probably a good one for you because your language level is pretty advanced. It's called etymology. Etymology means the history of where English words come from and how they've changed over time. And English words, a lot of them have really interesting stories about where they come from. And if you find out where the word comes from, the story, it will help you remember the word because it's an interesting story, right? So the one I always tell people is about the word steak. Do you like steak? Do you like to eat steak? Steak, like a beef, cooked on a fire, right? That's a steak, right? S-T-E-A-K, right? Yeah. But there's another word, the word stick, S-T-I-C-K. What is a stick? A stick is a piece of wood that you take from a tree, right? That's a stick, right? Now, why does the word stick look like the word steak? It looks like it and it almost sounds like it. They look close, right? They both have an S-T, they both have a K. Why? Because how did we cook meat the first time? When we wanted to cook meat the first time, what did we use? We put the meat on a stick and we put it over the fire, right? Yeah. That's why the word steak and stick look the same and sound the same, because they're related, okay? Or the word important. Important. What does important mean? What does important mean? I'm asking you a question. What does important mean?
It means essential.
Essential, right. So the word important comes from the word import. What is an import?
Import to carry from one place to...
Imports are things that you buy into your country because you don't have them, right? You have imports and exports, right? So if your country has too much of something, then you sell it to other people because you don't need it, right? And so that's an export. X means to go out. And then import, those are the things you don't have, so you really need them. So they are, right, they are important. Do you see how those two words are related? So you see what I mean? Like now that connection will stay in your mind and you'll be like, oh, wow, look at that. The word import and important are related. I mean,
that's an interesting one.
Yeah, it really is. And I guarantee that 95% of the walking, America doesn't have any idea.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah.
And we've had the etymology live streams. I'm not sure that one's come up in the ones that I've been in anyway.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones. Yeah. The word port. There's many, many English words that have the letters P-O-R-T in them. Port means to carry across. So, for example, transport. Trans means across, and port means to carry. So transport means something that carries you across. Import, im means in, and port means to carry. So imports are things you carry in. Export, X means out. Port means carry. So exports are things you carry out. Let me think of another one. Passport. Your passport. Yeah. Pass. It's the pass to the door. The port is also a word that means door, right? So this is etymology, right? If you find all the words that have a related root meaning, you can learn them very quickly, and you can increase your vocabulary really well.
That's the best technique.
I love that technique. Yeah, it's really interesting too. Yeah. So there's a website I use. You can go to it. It's called etymonline.com. Etymonline.com is a free etymology dictionary. You can type in any word, and they will tell you where the word comes from. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah.
Useful information here.
You're welcome, my friend. And yeah, you can go to my YouTube channel and you can find lots of other videos that I've done. I upload all these videos onto YouTube as soon as I'm finished. So there are dozens of other videos you can watch where I have almost 75,000 followers now. And I've been here, I've done over 1,000 live streams on Hello Talk. So I've had lots and lots of people ask me lots and lots of questions. They're all on my YouTube. You can just go listen and see, you know.
And, if you're interested in etymology, but you just want, somewhere to start, you could go with one of the etymology live streams. And
Yeah,
that'll teach you some vocabulary as well.
I do an etymology live stream. Like usually about once a week, I'll do one stream where I just teach all about these crazy stories about where English words come from. I have lots of them. I started studying this when I was 15, so I've been learning it for a long time. Yeah.
I'll check your YouTube out. Thank you so much, Mark.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for giving me your time. So take care.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming, and yeah, come back and see us again sometime. And again, your English is really good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, quite good. So, all right. Well, nice to see you. We'll see you next time. Take care, my friend.
Bye. Take care.
Okay.
Yeah, his English was really great.
Right.
When
As soon
you
as
ask what important means, and he says essential.
Right.
That's,
right.
That's good
You're
English
doing
there,
well.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. And as soon as I heard his voice, I was like,
Yeah.
wow, your accent.
Yeah.
Not bad.
No,
yeah.
he sounded great.
And I have noticed that about Afghanis, that I do feel like among the Middle Eastern countries or Central Asian countries,
Yeah.
I think they have an easier time extricating their accent
Right.
than most of the Arabic-speaking
Right.
countries do.
Iran's pretty good.
Iran is really good.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, Iran is also very good at that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Flash right now, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, around this time is when we're usually here, right? We usually start about an hour or two earlier than this. Okay? What about saving cards of words? If it works for you, flashcards, then that's fine. I don't think flashcards are bad. I just don't think they're good the way usually people use them. People usually use them. It's the only thing they
Yeah.
do. They only use flashcards. They just try to memorize. No, I don't think that's good. If you're using flashcards and you're doing reading and using a thesaurus and etymology and all those things, then yeah, that's fine. But if all you're doing is using flashcards, then no, I don't agree with that.
Yeah,
I
because
don't think that's good.
flashcards, they get better when you have
That's
a lot
exactly
more
right.
input. They're much more
Yeah.
useful that way.
That's right. Yeah. We have the majority of English sounds in our language. Well, that would explain it.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. I just caught up with the comments here. So, what does trauma mean? Trauma is a kind of a formal word that means the damage that you feel. The first definition I'll give you is the damage you feel to your mental, physical, or spiritual being in some way is trauma. Now, there's a more medical definition of trauma, which
Yeah, and now she's asking about blunt, which is probably
blunt force trauma.
force trauma is what I imagine she's getting into.
So
yeah.
blunt force trauma. Blunt means anything not sharp, right? So this microphone is blunt, right? It's rounded. So sharp is this, blunt is this, right? So it means not sharp. That's what blunt means. And blunt force trauma is a term that comes up in medical shows and
Yes.
crime shows and whatever.
If I were hitting the arm with a baseball bat,
That would be blunt force trauma.
Yes.
It's damage that's done with something large and rounded and not sharp in any corners or any edges. Yeah, that's called blunt force trauma.
car wrecks.
But the word trauma
reduce that.
also is used when we talk mentally also,
mental
mentally
trauma.
in mental health.
And I think that's usually when you'll hear the word traumatized.
Right,
Traumatized
yeah.
would not apply to a physical. I mean, I guess it could, but rarely. Traumatized makes me think, my mind has sustained the trauma.
Right, generally.
Yeah.
Yeah, generally when you use the word traumatized, you're thinking of mental damage,
Yeah.
not physical damage. Yeah. Unless, like I said, rare
gonna say it
cases
could
of
be.
like medical.
It's still- yes.
If you were discussing the damage to a muscle,
Right,
and you
this
were a
muscle was
medical,
traumatized
yeah,
by-
right,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
that would be.
yes.
But that's a very specific
Yeah.
medical type of terminology. Okay. And there, you're right. The word blunt can also mean to be very direct and forward with someone about something for the same reason.
Yeah, it's hitting you.
Yeah,
with it.
right.
Yeah.
A blunt object is a rounded object that can be used to hit things, right?
And in a crude sort of way.
A crude sort of way, right?
Yes.
So when you say "let me be blunt," that means let me be very direct. Let me hit you right in the face with this thing.
Right.
Okay. What does chest out mean? I think it generally means like walk with pride.
Yeah, confidence.
Yeah,
sort
walk
of,
with
yeah.
confidence, walk with pride, I think.
And it can, and I mean, I guess it's sort of tongue in cheek as well.
It depends on where you heard
yeah,
it.
it is.
Yeah.
does.
Hello, Rainia. Okay, if somebody else would like to raise their hand. Peter, I don't know if you're still here.
Hello, Daniel. Islam wants to come up.
Islam wants to come up. Did you raise your hand? I don't see you raising your hand. Can you raise your hand, Islam? There he is.
Hi, it is Chamor.
Hello, my friend. How are you?
Hey.
I'm good.
Good.
It's been a while. I can't talk to you. You know.
Yeah, it's been a little while. I've been not. I haven't been online very much recently. Just focusing on me, focusing on my website. But Islam, I got some good news last night. I think I figured out most of the problems on my website yesterday. I may have solved almost all the big
that's
problems
great.
on my website, which is huge because I've been dealing with it for months and months and months, and it's really been stressing me out. But I think they might have fixed it last night, so I'm crossing my fingers, and I'm hoping that today my website might be working much better for everybody in the world than it was before.
I'm glad to go for you.
Yeah,
We're all
thank you.
waiting, you know.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see your website. I'm
Yeah.
happy for you, I swear.
Thank
I am
you.
happy.
Yeah, and I'm working on a lot more now. I've got a blog that I started on there
Nice.
now too, and I'm going to start posting material
Oh,
from
okay.
my archive from Hello Talk.
Yeah.
So on Hello Talk right now, you can search on the moments and you can find all my moments that I've posted. I've posted thousands of moments on Hello Talk, and there are many, many posts about grammar and vocabulary and listening and reading and writing and speaking and culture.
You
and
curate that and put it onto the
I
website.
curated about 1,000 of them.
Wow,
Yeah, I manually curated
Yeah, that's some
1,000
work.
of them.
Yeah.
And now, yeah, we archived them, and now we're going to try to re-upload them onto my Facebook and onto my website. But I'm actually thinking I might just put them only on my website to try to encourage more
Right.
people to go there. Yeah.
Oh, you have a Facebook account or page?
I do, but I never really use it. Like I'm so busy trying to do all the other stuff that I'm terrible at social media.
Me too.
So I have a Facebook. If you go to my link tree, Islam, you can find all my links on my link tree. You should have that, I think, right?
Yeah, I want to see it. Yes.
Yeah. So if you go here, then you'll find my website and you'll find my Facebook and you'll find my YouTube and you'll find everything on that link tree.
And I'm gonna share your page in my moment in Facebook. You know.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. And like I said, things are getting better with my website. Pretty soon I'll be able to go back to thinking about my book again.
Yeah. That's
right
a
now-
huge undertaking.
right now,
too.
it is,
That's
and-
something that does just take. a
Yeah,
long
it does take a long time, and I don't feel too bad about it. I
No.
just want to get it done.
Yeah.
I just really want to get it done. But once I get the website feeling like I can relax about that,
Yeah.
then I can start focusing on my book again. Yeah.
We're waiting your book also, you know.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
I know it's gonna be fascinating. I know.
And how are you and how is your family?
Everything is good. Thank you, God. Yes.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad, and I really do appreciate all your support. Islam is like
Yeah,
my number one fan.
I was gonna say I've talked to him before. Yeah.
Yeah, he's always
You know, like
been
you're
supportive.
my big brother. You know that.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
For you, Tishamar.
Thank you very
No
much,
way.
Islam. You're very, very kind, and I really do appreciate it. It makes a big difference when you're doing live streaming. It's like being in a band. When you got your groupies, or you got the people who are always
The haters.
The people who come every show. Like that
Right.
guy.
Oh,
even
yeah,
when
yeah,
there's
yeah.
when there's nobody there, your best friend who showed up to the
That
show.
was us at my friend's concert
Right,
last night.
right.
There was 8 or 12 other people
Right,
there,
right,
and then it was
right.
me and our friends.
Right, but that makes a big difference to
does.
those people.
It
When
really does.
somebody shows you that
Yeah.
they care enough to come
And support you. Yeah.
right? And so the people like you, Islam, and the regulars, Belen and Gunter and Zoe, who's there right there, and Victor and Song and so many regular.
Odie.
We call them regulars, right? If I see you often in a same business, then I'll call you a regular. You're a regular customer of that business. So the regulars, they make a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
We
thank
really
you.
appreciate it. We all love you, you know. You know that.
I hope so.
No, I promise you, we all love you. Ed.
The problem is I don't always love myself. you know?
Yeah, it's
That's
not
the thing.
easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy
Yeah.
always.
So, well, thank you very much, Islam. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tishamar. And thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
And I will see you again.
Yeah, it's great to see you too, or talk to you at least. So take care, my friend, and I hope your family's doing well, and I'll see you next time, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, take care, my friend. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah,
You're a
really
regular, but so irregular. Yeah.
one of our
Right.
irregular.
Yeah, the irregular regulars. Those are my favorite. Yeah.
When I worked in the casino business, that was mostly what we had. Was
A lot of regulars.
a lot of irregular.
Oh,
regulars.
right, yeah. Right.
They were regulars, but
Yeah, right. Is it possible to learn many languages at the same time? Yeah, it's possible. Is it a good idea?
Yeah, I was
Not
gonna say,
necessarily. It depends on the person. It depends on the languages, right? If you're learning, Portuguese already. If you're learning Spanish and Italian, probably
Right.
you'll be okay because they are related to Portuguese, and there will be some things that you'll recognize that should make it easier.
but you don't have to be a polyglot,
right. But
Shalma.
if you're trying to learn Portuguese and Japanese, or Portuguese and Mongolian, or Portuguese and Greek, then probably you're gonna have a hard time.
Yeah.
So, can you do it? Sure. But that's one of life's great lessons. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
That's right.
You have a stutter. What should you do to stop it? Mela? Well, it depends on your stutter.
Yeah.
There are a large number of people do have a minor stutter problem that doesn't really need therapy, but it does need work. And generally, it needs two things. It needs confidence, and it needs you to slow down and relax. If you combine those two things, minor stutters are usually just a matter of people needing to relax more and have more confidence and slow down a little bit. So breathe, and relax, and that will help you tremendously. So the next time you need to take, to speak, before you speak, take a second, take a breath, and relax. Make sure you're ready to speak, right? I stutter every once in a while. I get
Yeah, me
stuck
too.
on a word, it just comes out, and
Yep.
it's, and it's usually because my mouth is going faster than my mind.
I was gonna say when the times when I stutter will be when I'm online with my friends or something, and we're all talking, and I'll be talking fast, and then that's when I'll start to stutter because
Right.
we're all it's just a big.
Now, a friend of
stuff.
mine, I have a friend of mine who he has a more serious stutter, and he's had it since he was a child, and that's one that needs
Speech therapy.
more speech therapy. That's a more serious thing. But when most people tell me they have a stutter, it's usually not something I would say is a diagnosed condition for speech therapy. It's just something where you need to slow down and relax a
Yeah.
bit more. That's it. Yeah. As a matter of fact, there is a what is that guy's name? Oh, let me find it real quickly. Hold on. Technique for relaxation. It's called the Alexander Technique. Now I remember. The Alexander Technique is a famous technique for relaxation of the muscles of the face and neck and body, for that matter. And it was created by a guy named something Alexander. Let's see. Let's see. So it's a technique that teaches you improved posture and movement, which is believed to help reduce and prevent problems caused by unhelpful habits of stress. And he used it because he was a singer. And he had trouble singing,
Yeah.
and he had to learn how to relax more to be able to sing better.
Right.
And that technique has been used by musicians and actors and performers and singers and to learn how to relax more so that you can speak better or sing better or perform better. So the Alexander Technique, you could look into that maybe. The Alexander Technique.
I think she might have asked for it to be written.
Huh? Who did? What?
At the down more, the person who asked about the stutter, and they asked for I think they wanted the Alexander Technique.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. The time in Cincinnati. The time is 11:40 a.m.
Thank you for calling Movie Phone.
That's right. Yeah. Fatima, how can you become fluent in English? You speak and you still think in your native language. Well, you just answered your own question, Fatima. You just answered your own question. How can you become fluent in English? You're not fluent in English until you learn how to think fluently in English. So that's your problem. You need to learn how to. Your problem is not that you're not spending enough time speaking English. You're not spending enough time thinking in English. Learn how to think in English, and then you'll be more comfortable, and that's what we call being fluent. If you have a regular routine for learning English, should I change some things after a while or leave it the same way? That's a good question.
It depends on if it's working or not, I guess.
Yeah, I think that it depends on if it's working or not. But I would also
Generally,
just
probably
say,
yes.
I think that, yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's an English idiom that we have. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. However, variety is the spice of life is another one that we have. So what I would say is sometimes learning needs to stay fresh. And that means you need to keep trying to find new ways to learn, new, books, videos, apps, friends, teachers, family, tutors, live streams, podcasts. Find another way to engage with the information. So I think there's a little bit of truth to both of those things. Sometimes, if it's working for you, great. On the other hand, if you feel like you're stalling out or things are not going well, then yeah, change it up. Okay? Imad, are you okay? Peter, you're back. Okay. And yes, I am a musician also. Peter?
Peter, Peter, where are you going?
What is that from? I
That's
don't
an
know
old
that.
church camp song.
Oh, I don't know.
I used to sing.
That's funny.
Peter, Peter, what are you doing? Hanging upside down. It was a strange lyric for
Yeah,
a
that
kid's
is
song.
weird. Yeah.
But it was like, it went through his whole life, you know. What are you doing? Looking for that fish or whatever it was. I can't remember all the lyrics. I can't even remember the moral.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Any other questions or people who would like to come up and talk? Raise your hand if you want to come talk to us. If you would like to quest.
Yes. If you have a quest for us, send us. We will be your champions.
And they are related.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh huh.
That is where it comes from.
Right.
To search or inquire.
Yeah.
Right? A quest was an inquiry, you
Yeah.
know, to find out something. Yeah. So, to quest, let's bring that verb back.
Yes. May I quest you?
Yes, that's right. Best way to prepare for the TOEFL test. 1, get good study books. I recommend these 3 companies. Barron's, Kaplan, or Cambridge. Those 3 companies all make excellent study book materials, right? You can get the TOEFL books or the IELTS books or whatever from those 3 companies. You don't have to get all 3 companies. Choose one and get some books from them. I highly recommend it, okay? That would be 1. 2, plan to try to study for that test a good 6 months in advance. Don't take that test next week, right? Don't just think, oh, I'm going to take the IELTS test next week. You know, prepare. You know, 6 months to a year in advance is what I recommend people do if they really want to study or prepare for the IELTS test. 3, focus on your weaknesses. Whatever your weaknesses are. If you're good at speaking and writing, great. Now you need to work on your reading and listening, right? And your grammar or something like that, right? Whatever your weaknesses are, focus on those, target your weaknesses. 4, if you can get a teacher who actually is a TOEFL or IELTS prep teacher, then that's great. Like, I'm a teacher, but I am not an official IELTS or TOEFL prep teacher. I have helped some students prepare for those tests, but I'm not a certified TOEFL teacher or certified IELTS teacher, right? That's a different level of ability in order to help you, right? But if you can afford that, then get that. That will help you as well, right? And then the last piece of advice I can give is if you are able to take the test more than once, then do. You know, don't worry about it too much. It is a very difficult test. It's a test that the majority of native speakers wouldn't do well on. And I know it's expensive. I do. I don't think it should be expensive. I also don't think it should be as hard as it is. I think that
Right.
they make it crazy, ridiculously hard. It's like the citizenship test in America,
Well,
too.
that's like why they make it expensive too. Yeah,
Right,
make it hard, and then you got to
exactly.
take it again.
That's
you
right,
know.
yeah. But again, like the citizenship test in America, the majority of Americans
Right.
would
Oh yeah.
fail
Yeah,
so horribly, you know?
it's true.
So those are my general pieces of advice for studying or preparing for the IELTS test. Okay? Do I use fixin' to get ready to go? I don't myself.
Yeah, is it a southern term?
It's a southern
yeah.
thing. It's a southern thing. It's also a slightly African American community thing. Yeah.
Which is also really
southern.
yeah.
Right.
There's
yeah.
a lot of that.
Right.
comes-
That's right. That's right. The communities that are black are largely, not all, but many of them are in the South. So of course there's some crossover there. It's a southern thing. It's also an African American thing. I never use.
I don't use it in that
I would
way,
use
but-
it only in a joking sense.
Yeah,
You know, I'm fixing the blood. Like, you know, like no.
And you may, and generally, you in the black community, you hear it as finna.
Fitna.
Yeah,
You're right. I'm fitna. I'm fitna. Right. Yeah.
And it can be used in a little different way, but generally, that's exactly what it means: is getting ready to do something.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's right. Yeah. Yeah, but I never use that myself. No. Peter, what happened to you? Where did you go, Peter?
Peter.
Every time he says he wants me to bring him up on stage, and then I go look and he's not there. Peter. You know what was one of my favorite ways to introduce myself to my new students when I was in Taiwan?
Oh yeah.
And you can use this wherever you go. The name game song. Peter, Bo Peter, banana, feeder, me, my, mo meter, Peter.
Yeah.
I would just walk around the room and just say, what's your name? And they would say, Billy.
Yeah.
And then I would
Billy,
just
Billy,
right in front of them.
Billy,
And
yeah.
before you know it, all of the kids in the room are all like,
Yeah.
oh, do me,
Yeah,
Daniel,
Yeah.
or Jenny or whatever, and they all think it sounds hilarious. And
Yeah.
the song is actually excellent because as it's an open form template that can be applied to any name.
Yeah, and it has a ton of sounds.
The combinations in it end up being an excellent tongue twister
Yeah,
phonics type
Yeah.
thing to get your mouth moving.
Right.
There's an old song in America called "The Name Game" from the 1960s, I believe, and it was made famous again by. American Horror Story had a great scene.
Oh, really?
Really great
And
scene.
I love that show too.
Yeah.
I don't know if I remember that part.
I think it was maybe the third season or fourth season where they had like the insane asylum.
Oh,
that
yeah,
they were in.
yeah.
And there's a scene in the middle of that where they do like a whole music number.
Yes.
And it's her
that's
singing the song. Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I do remember that now.
And yeah, so this song is a funny, quirky, kitschy song that just uses your name to create this funny melody.
Yeah.
And it's a good one to play with kids. Great way to break the ice
Yeah,
when you're trying
that
to
is
get into
good.
a new class.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Although I also had to learn that I used to often use eeny, meeny, miny, mo when I was just trying to pick people randomly to do games and things. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And kids loved that. They were like, oh, let's do that. But, of course, we're now living in the ultra PC age of finding out that things that you learned when you were a kid were racist and you didn't know.
Well, right. That's like the term grandfathered in.
Right.
That's like,
or here's one that I didn't know. That's crazy. The word cowboy.
Oh.
Because actually.
Oh, right. Because they were
black.
Yes. I did
Yeah,
know
they
that.
were black.
I did.
A whole lot of them were black.
Yeah,
like
and that's why
2/3
boy-
of
that's
them.
why boy you would've
That's
used,
right.
yeah.
That's right. That's exactly right. They used to call them cow punchers if
Yeah,
they were men.
right.
Or white men.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, like I still
Yeah, I
used
did
it.
know
I
that.
just don't tell them that part of the
Right,
story.
right.
And I use tiger, of course, like,
Right.
But the thing is, as a boy, I never knew that.
No,
I
me
had
neither.
no
Me
idea
neither.
that that's what it was. Not until I was way into my 30s did I find that out.
That's because there's a lack of education around that
Right.
subject.
Yeah, the cakewalk. Did you know that that's got a racist history
Yeah,
too?
because that it's like I did hear about that.
They
one
used to
other time.
make the slaves basically like dance around.
right,
with the
right,
cakes,
right.
you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
the cakewalk.
Yeah.
And that's In Georgia, even up until like the 80s, at Augusta for golf, they used to have what they called fly boys, which were it was African American guys that they would put jelly or honey on them, and so that they would
wow.
attract the bugs away from the golfers.
Wow.
Yeah, and it happened literally until like the 70s or 80s.
Wow. Yeah. America.
Yeah.
Anyway. You're an intermediate speaker. You want to improve to a professional level. Well, then you need to make a good, solid plan. You cannot go from being average to great without making a good plan.
Knowing your weaknesses.
Yeah, know your weaknesses, and you need to work on your reading, your writing, your listening, your speaking, your thinking, your grammar, your vocabulary, and your pronunciation. Reading, writing, listening, speaking, thinking, grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation. 8 different things. If you find a plan for each one of those and figure out what's wrong with your reading, what's wrong with your writing, make a plan to improve each one of them, then you will reach the higher level. What does immediate family mean? It means mom, dad, and the kids.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mom, dad, and the kids is the immediate family.
brothers,
so
sisters,
grandma
mom and
and grandpa not usually considered the immediate family. Not usually,
Yeah.
unless you happen to live in a family that you live all together, and that would be
And it's
considered.
been that dynamic always sort of
right.
thing. Yeah.
But in general, the term immediate family means mom, dad, and the kids. Not cousins, not uncles, not grandfather, grandmother, just mom, dad, and the kids. That's your immediate family. Your extended family would be your grandparents and uncles and aunts and cousins and all that.
Yeah.
That's your extended
A
family.
nuclear family is a made-up thing
Right.
to sell suburban homes.
So, yeah, that's the same as immediate family. Nuclear family is considered the same as immediate family, but I don't think we use that term that often anymore.
No.
Maybe in a sociology class or something like
Yeah.
that, but very rarely outside of that do we ever use that term anymore. At least that I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you improve fluency? Again, fluency is. I always tell people I hate the word fluent because it's a very ill-defined word.
Yeah, and it implies that there's an end.
It implies
you know?
there's a finish point,
Yes.
right? When people say I'm fluent in something, it's almost like
I'm
that
done
means
learning.
I'm done learning that
Yeah.
thing, So that's one reason I don't like the word fluent, because it implies that you could be finished. But I also don't like the word fluent because if it implies that you're finished, then that means there must be a certain number of something that you need to know,
Yeah.
right? So, how many vocabulary words do you need to know? Do you need to have perfect grammar? Do you need to know about, every topic in the world? Are you able to speak about astrobiology in English?
Mm-hmm.
If I can't speak about astrobiology, does that mean I'm not fluent in English? Right? So it's a very ill-defined word. How many words? Is it 3,000 words?
Right.
30,000 words?
Like I'm not fluent in legal English,
Right,
you know,
exactly,
or medical
right.
English.
That's right. So
But-
that's why I really hate that word.
Yeah.
And it also is a word that, like I said, there's this, it's like a mythical place you can reach.
the
that-
gatekeepy sort of word.
Yeah.
Too.
So forget the word fluent as you've known it before. If you want to use the word fluent now, you need to redefine it. My new definition of the word fluent is fluency is your level of English in your mind, or your comfortability of English in your mind, and your ability to use it, right? So if you have comfortability with the language in your mind, then you can read and write and listen and speak pretty well, right? But if it's not comfortable in your mind, then you can't read or write or listen or speak well. That's what fluency is when we see somebody, we say, well, they're really comfortable with the
Yeah.
language. Why are they comfortable? Mental language. Mental language. Okay? So you have to work on your mental language, Mukila. How did I improve my fluency? I don't stop learning.
Yeah,
You know, always continue to try to improve. That's it. You know, language is like music. You're just always trying to make a better melody every day.
yeah, fluency in English for me was just like how I started with it, basically.
Right, but I mean, even if we apply the word fluent to native speakers, again,
Yeah,
is
there's stuff we
everybody
don't know.
equally fluent?
Right.
You know, like
Right.
that's where it gets even more dicey with
Yeah.
this meaning,
Yeah.
because I can find somebody on the street who has a much lower vocabulary level than I do, and
They're fluent.
they're fluent, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What does student digs mean? Usually that means the place you live. Yeah. Nice digs means nice place that you have. Nice apartment, nice room, nice dorm room.
I'd say that one has fallen out of usage. But
I don't know.
It still gets used. But
Yeah.
I guess maybe my generation.
I like
we
that
didn't-
one.
We didn't
Nice
use it-
digs.
Yeah, we didn't
Yeah.
use it too much.
Yeah. I'm older, I did.
Yeah.
Mukila, I have answered your question about fluency several times now. And for vocabulary, I've actually already talked about that on this live stream earlier today. So here's what I will tell you is
a couple times.
go to my YouTube channel. Go to my YouTube channel, Kumar and Mukila and whoever else the other person was. Go to my YouTube channel, start watching my YouTube videos. You will find many, 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 many tips. Okay, I have about 75,000 followers. That means I get a lot of questions about English. So almost every question that you have, somebody else has already asked me before. Okay, it's right there. It's right there. That's my channel, right there.
Yeah, and if you're looking for new vocabulary, like I said earlier, look for the etymology live streams, and those give you a history. You'll be able to find new vocabulary in those.
Yeah, I do a live stream that's kind of based on building new vocabulary. It's advanced vocabulary. And actually, I was thinking about doing another new one where we just do advanced vocabulary words, like upper level, and we just choose a word and then just start
digging into it.
Yeah, what does it mean?
Yeah.
How do we use it? Examples.
Exceptions.
Get some people up on the stage and see if they can use it, that kind of a thing, for advanced vocabulary.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I guess Peter's gone.
Yeah, he just has no patience.
Yeah, he's like, can I get
comes
on? No, bye.
Yeah, right. That's exactly what he does. That is exactly what he does. Yeah. I'm here. Bring me on stage now. No? Okay, bye. Yeah, that's what he does. Yeah. Nasty day out.
Yeah, it was slow getting over here.
How can you be fluent in any language? Be a genius.
Yes.
When do I usually start live streams? Monica, for you, if you live in China, Beijing time, right now is 12 o'clock p.m., so it's 12 o'clock a.m. in Beijing. So we started today at 10, so it'd be 10 p.m. your time. We usually start a little earlier than that. Friday is a little later, usually around 9:30 or 10 on Friday p.m. your time. On Monday and Wednesday, usually a little earlier, maybe 8:30, 9:30. Okay? Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, call it 9 o'clock. We'll call it around 9 o'clock. Okay? Yeah, I know, Bellin. Yeah, he has no patience. He's actually been banned a couple times, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hounding people to get on stage.
Yeah, I don't know if he's on the spectrum. I think he is. Anyway, he doesn't seem to take the hint.
Right.
Yeah. YouTube channel, again, here, right there, YouTube channel. Or if you want my Well, let me give you this one. If you want my website, you can go to my website and sign up for private lessons. Monica, I don't have an official schedule yet, but I will have one soon. That's another feature coming on my website soon, is all of my live streams will be posted, my schedule will be posted, and the links will be posted on my website. I'm going to start trying to do that next week, where, that week we'll just post them all, ahead of time. Just 1 week in advance. When I try to do it more than 1 week in advance, it gets lost in the
Right. And then
the shuffle.
and who knows what might come up or whatever.
right.
And then-
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So I think a week is good. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else want to come up and talk to us or ask us any questions? We are
I
here
think
to
there was
answer your
one question
questions.
about suburbs or
Where is it?
outskirts, up a little. The difference between outskirts and suburbs.
Oh, okay. Well, possibly nothing.
Yeah.
Possibly nothing.
But like outskirts, like if a city could be there, but if there's no homes around it,
Right.
then the outskirts may
outskirts
not be
is,
suburbs.
is general. It is more general terms.
Yeah.
So every city has outskirts, and those
Right.
outskirts could be suburbs.
Right.
Right? Outskirts just means, well, think about it like this. What is a skirt? A skirt is a short dress, right? It's like a half part of a dress, right? So if you imagine, if you lay a skirt out on the ground, it's a round piece of a strip that goes like this, right? So the inner city is here. This is the urban area in the middle, the urban area, and then the outside we call either the suburbs or the outskirts of town. And it just means the outside part of town. But different towns are different. Some towns go right from a small town to farming.
Yeah,
You know,
and American suburbs are fairly unique. As
they
far
are
as
actually.
city planning goes
right,
around
and
the
I
world.
didn't know that about that until I moved to Taiwan. Yeah,
Right.
like Taiwan is pretty much city and then farmland.
Right.
You know?
Right. That's why they had to come up with the word suburban.
So suburbs-
for what it was.
Most major cities in America, I would say, have an urban area, which is the city area, a suburban ring around that, which is where most of the middle class of the city will live, right? Most of them. And then outside of that would be more of the rural areas or countryside, farming areas and whatever, right? So usually it's urban, suburban, countryside, farm, rural areas, which is another great word.
Yes.
Rural.
It's like in 30 Rock, the rural juror.
I love that show. It's a great show.
It is.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Omar. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you, AG. What does hanging on mean? Well, hanging on, if someone said, let me think of a good example. If someone said, I'm hanging on by a thread, that's an actual idiom that means that I'm nearly ready to break. Like, I'm nearly ready to be upset or sad or give up or quit. Something like that, right? So I'm hanging on by a thread means I'm almost ready to quit, or I'm almost at the end of my patience or ability to stay. So
If you're to tell someone to hang on.
yeah. On the other hand, hang on, just if you just say, hey, hang on, can you hang on for a minute? I'm hanging on means I'm waiting, right? So hang on means wait. Can you hang on for a minute means can you wait for a minute? Where you live is a suburb of Madrid City, but with all that you'll need. Yeah, right. So European cities, I think, are even a little bit different because I think there's even like a third section that's like right in between urban and suburban.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to
European
do with
cities in their on their own right are kind of unique, you know.
right. A lot of it has to do with proximity to what you need.
Right. And that's the
And
problem with American
That's
suburbs.
right.
is that they're
European
just food
cities
deserts.
are planned for the concept
Yes.
of
People.
proximity of what you need. American is just marketing. It's
Yeah,
all marketing.
it is,
You know, it's like
yeah.
who buys what, who can afford what, and that's where it ends up being.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah, out
if the
in-
property was cheap over there, that's where they put the store. You
Yeah.
know, they don't decide based on where we need it.
Right.
You know. In America, we have a term called food deserts,
Yes.
which means there are some places in America where it's not easy to get access to fresh food, like grocery foods, like vegetables and fruits and meats and fish and fresh food, right? It's so if you live in the city and they don't have any good grocery stores near you, then the only choice you have is to go to the little stores that have not good food for you, unhealthy food for you. And that's called a food desert.
And even in the suburbs, you know, like you said, they find these big cheap plots of land, and then there's a big suburb, and then they have to drive 10 miles to the nearest grocery
Right.
store
That's right.
to get there because they don't have anything local. Now the suburbs are all building up to the point where they just put in a grocery store next to the suburbs a lot of the time.
Right,
But
yeah.
but for the most part they are there's a lot of food deserts in America.
There are, yeah, because America is a big place and it's a country that
Urban sprawl has taken over.
without a car, life in America is quite difficult.
Yeah.
Without a car, you can live in America without a car, but life is significantly a bigger challenge if you don't have a car.
Yeah.
Because of the distance that you need to travel to go to work or to go to get food or to restaurants or to the movies or wherever. Everything is car driving distance. Yeah. Hello, Eunice. Good to see you again. Hello, Zari. I'm glad you think a subscription to this app is useful. It can be. Yeah, like I said, Bellin, I think that European cities have like an urban area, a super urban
Yeah, I was
area,
gonna say, like, an
and
extra
then
urban
and then
area.
right, then a suburban area. So, yeah, or maybe we should say super urban being the skyscrapers and whatnot, and
Yeah.
then suburban, or I should say urban being
Yeah.
kind of where Bellin lives, where it's city, but
Still
it's
highly populated.
Right,
It's not
yeah.
huge yards. And
right,
this sort of
exactly,
thing.
yeah. And then there's urban outside of that where maybe you have some property.
Yeah.
Right? That's really the big difference between urban and suburban. Property.
Yeah.
Right? Suburbs, if you live in the suburbs, you have some land,
Yeah,
probably.
you generally have a lawn.
If you live in the urban area, you either rent or whatever property you own is extremely small. Yeah. So when you get out to the suburbs or the farm rural areas, you can buy land. You can have a piece of property. You can have some privacy, which is a huge thing here.
Yeah. Build a wall.
Right, yeah.
I didn't understand that one.
Yeah, AG, I'm not sure what you're trying to ask, but probably whatever you heard is not what is really happening. If I had to take a guess, whatever you think you heard is not exactly what's really happening.
Right.
Hello, Lynn, and hello, Hal. Again, we do have some time for a couple more people. It's already been 2 hours. We'll do
Yeah.
just a little longer here, and then we'll call it quits. It's already after 12. But we had that yummy breakfast, so I'm
Yes.
good. Usually my stomach is growling by now. Any other questions? Any other quests for us today? Yeah, it's about brunch time. Yeah. Well, brunch in America, we usually call brunch somewhere between 11 and 1 or
Yeah.
maybe 10 and 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't actually been out for a brunch in a long time.
I haven't either, but I do love a good brunch for
too.
one simple reason, because I love breakfast food.
Yeah.
But I hate eating a lot early
That
in the
early,
morning.
yeah.
So 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, I'm good then.
Yeah.
I'm okay then, especially if I have nothing to do that
Right.
day. You know, like when you can have American breakfasts are
Sugar and carbs.
heavy. Yeah, heavy. You need a nap after you eat an
Yeah,
American, a full American breakfast. You need a nap. Pancakes and bacon and eggs and toast and sausage and whatever.
Yeah.
French toast and
Have we both been in China before? I have been to China. He lived in Taiwan
yeah,
for a number of years.
close enough.
I just visited China.
Yeah, he's been to China for a visit, and I lived in Taiwan for 4 years.我们都学中文。Any other questions? Questions. What does it mean to be called Harney?
Maybe a different word with an O and not an A. But
Or honey?
maybe. Yeah, could be.
Eva, where did you see that? Well, take care, Belen. We'll be seeing each other soon. I'm looking forward to it so much. All right, AG.
I don't know.
IG,
We don't even quite understand what you're saying.
AG, we're teaching English here. We're teaching English here, all right? So, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah, let's not talk about things that are, beyond my
Weird.
scope. Beyond my scope, we'll call that, okay?
Oh yeah, it must be honey because she says a man always calls
I think
her.
that's what it is,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So, do I like hot pot? No, I love it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like hot pot.
Yeah,
I do.
我爱吃火锅. You know many English words, but when you speak, you can't remember them and you use stop words. What's your advice? What should you do? Practice more, relax more, practice thinking in English more, and when you have, if you have any filler words, right, like the word or duh or whatever, it takes a little bit of practice, but you can try to eliminate more of them. A few of them is okay. Like I say an occasional
Yeah.
and that's okay. What you want to avoid is when you do this. Well, I was going to the store and then I went to, that's not good. Don't do that. And many people do that. It's a nervous thing. And what you need to do is just learn that silence is the best filler word of all.
Yep.
Right? So if you're not sure what to say, then you need to train yourself and teach yourself how to relax and just let there be silence. Okay? And yeah, a man always calls you Harney. I think he's calling you honey. Honey, probably.
And that's like sweetie.
Right, yeah. Or it's like Chinaida. Chinaida, yeah. And what is honey? Just a feng mi. Feng mi. Honey, feng mi. That's what he's calling you. 他叫你蜂蜜。他觉得这是好可爱的名字。
Bye, Belen.
Take care, Belen. Yeah, bye-bye.
Yeah, yes, honey. Yes.
It doesn't mean hi. It means Chinaida. It means like sweetie or cutie or something like that.
If we go to a small restaurant the waitress may call me honey. You know, you get that. A lot.
Although in America, it's definitely something
It's
that is a
changed.
bit,
Yeah.
it's a bit more sensitive. You know, I think that
A man calling a woman honey is there is a
Right.
little.
it's right.
There's some strange connotation.
That's right.
that.
Yeah. The older you get, the more you like retro music. Is there anyone like you here? Yeah, Gemma. I'm a musician, and I still love old music generally far more than most of the new music I
I
hear.
was listening to Etta James when I came.
Good
in
for
here.
you. Yeah. And even your idea of retro gets even more retro, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say
So,
I consider '90s
when I was a kid, I thought like the 60s and 70s was like retro, but then now you get older and it's like, oh well, the 30s and 40s, that's retro too, you know. The R in English is impossible for you, Lynn. You can do it. Let me think of how you can do it. You speak Spanish.
Here, R.
Let me try to think of a good way. One moment.
Try to make a sound that a car makes. I don't know. Wesley, generally, Mark has his live streams 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and a lot of the time I join him, and it's usually around this time. On Fridays we get started a little later, around 10, but usually on Mondays and Wednesdays start around 9 a.m. our time. That'd be 9 p.m. In China.
Well, let's see what this chick says here.
Hey, welcome to
Oh,
this
dude,
video
sorry.
where we are going to talk about the American R sound, and we're going to compare it to the Spanish R sound. So this is going to be my very first video for Spanish speakers of English. So my name is Ben. If you don't know me, I'm an accent and pronunciation coach, and I hail professionals and advanced English speakers, specifically Spanish-speaking professionals in the United States or any other English-speaking country improve their accent, pronunciation, and communication skills in English. So let's get started. So in Spanish, we have 2 types of sounds. We have the soft R, for example, in the word pero,
Pero.
pra, and we have the strong R, for example, in the word perro. Very similar words, but they
Well, I
are
can't speak
different,
Spanish.
One's
and the
dog.
only difference is the sound. So for the first sound, the soft R, what your tongue is doing is it's going up
Flipping
and
up.
touching the upper palate, and then releasing, or you are releasing the sound very quickly. Pero.
Right.
So it's a very light and quick tap against the upper palate. Pero. Now for the second R, the strong R, what you're doing is you're using the tip of the tongue as well. So, pero, because
Now
we're
let's
going
see.
to compare.
He's a good
these
example of someone
2
who's kept his
sounds,
accent
the
and
Spanish
still
R,
super
the
understandable.
American R sound. So in American English, what you want to do is you want to bring the tip of the tongue up, and then you want to move it backwards in the mouth. And you want to make sure that the tip of the tongue doesn't touch anything. Another thing is you're going to round your lips, and the sides of the tongue are going
Yeah.
up.
So
and
this is
touching your
the real trick with the American R sound that I didn't know until I thought about it and really checked out my own mouth movements. The R sound in English, the tongue is kind of curved.
Yeah, R.
So the edges of your tongue, if this is your tongue, the edges of your tongue are touching your teeth. Right? So you have this cavity, this empty space in here, but both sides of your tongue are actually pushing up against your teeth on the roof of your mouth. And that's what makes it the R sound. Okay? But I do recommend one simple word, the word car.
Car.
And I like the word car because the C, the hard C, makes you throw that sound out of your mouth quickly. So you're not searching around for how to get the mouth in the right position.
Right.
You just blurt it out. You just say it, right? So focus on practicing the word car because that hard C helps you to get that sound out.
Yeah, and the hard C is not as super common in other, that's not, it's a good one to practice too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can't roll my R to save my life, which is why I'll never be able to say, I'll only be able to say pero and not pero.
Pero.
I cannot roll my tongue. I'm a good linguist, but I cannot roll my tongue to save my life. I have tried since I was a boy. Can't do it. Yeah. All right. Well, guess what, guys? It's been about 2 hours and 15 minutes almost, and it's almost 12:30. I think it's probably a good time to wrap things up here. So I'm going to give you my links one more time. If you want to follow me, go here. Follow me here. Follow me here. That is my link tree. You can find my website and my podcast and my live stream and my voice room and my Facebook and my YouTube all there. Go to my link tree and you'll find everything. Okay? You can find my intro video where you can learn more about me and you can get lessons from me as well if you want to.
Buy some lessons.
Yeah, buy some lessons, please. Yeah, come on. We don't get paid for this, by the way, we do this out of the goodness of our hearts and because we enjoy trying to help people around the world with English and language and talking with people around the world. That's why we do it. But this is my job. So I do like to work sometimes. Sometimes I do like to work occasionally. I like to eat is the thing. See, I don't like to work, but I do like to eat.
And they go hand in hand.
Yeah, they go hand in hand. So occasionally, if you want me to eat, then you should buy some lessons from me. Yeah, occasionally. Yeah, that's right. Although I don't look like I need it right now.
We're gonna get a filter that makes us both look thin.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. I need the anti-fat filter. Yeah.
PETA.
That's right. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Ursula. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And thank you, Alessia, and everyone else. We're going to wrap it up now, but thank you once again for watching and following and participating. There's my YouTube channel one more time. Have a good morning, have a good afternoon, have a good evening wherever you live in the world, everybody, and we will see you next time, okay? Don't forget to be a language warrior.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.